before we get started, I want to make sure it's your reminder. Do us a favor, like, subscribe, and comment on our YouTube channel because you'll get all the good stuff from Tommy and Charlie and Hot Mike and Ricky Cobb and me. See, I'm really putting the boys in graphics right now to the test because I was supposed to do that before I started, but I didn't. I screwed it up. Once again is what they're saying. Hey, Dan, how about you don't screw it up once again? My bad, Dylan. Anyway, like, subscribe. Ricky, me, Charlie, Hot Mike, Clay, the whole gang is here. All right, back to what I was talking about, the NBA ratings. I don't get it. Like, I don't understand it. I don't understand why, I don't know. OutKick is the only one that has been telling you this. It's been clear. It's been obvious because when you get ratings as stupid as they are to put together, I can't even tell you how they are. I've never worried about ratings in my radio career. I just worry about sales. Are we bringing in more money than our show is costing? I've always thought about that, worried about that, because ratings are really dumb. But people do pay attention to them. And here at OutKick, whether it was Bobby or whether it was Clay or anybody, particularly Clay and Bobby, were telling you that this is in the toilet. And boy, oh boy, is this in the toilet. The hits keep coming for the 2025 All-Star Game. It proved to be a critical disaster. It proves to be a ratings disaster. I don't know where else it can be. I guess it's a media disaster, marking a double-digit drop, which is the second least watched All-Star Game from the NBA in league history. Let's go through the numbers. NBA All-Star Game viewership was down 13% versus last year. 13%. Now, don't tell me that all basketball is going down. We saw the rise of the WNBA. College basketball seems to be doing pretty good. I'm guessing this year March Madness is going to hit record-type highs. 2025, 4.718 million viewers across TNT, TBS, and True TV. Last year, 5.398 million viewers. Note, Nielsen recently boosted OOH ratings, and the Super Bowl set a record despite not being a close game. Well, there's a lot of different ways that OOH, I'm not sure what it all means, but there is streaming involved. There's a bunch of different packages that are now included in Nielsen, I'm being told, that helps your ratings, and yet the All-Star Game was still down 13%. If you watched it, you know. You really do know. And here's the thing. I'm going to say this for the 100th time. Until Pride gets back into the All-Star Game, the NHL players, and you're going to watch tonight, championship game of this 4-team tournament, nation against nation against nation against nation. The final's going to be held in Boston. And there's real energy about it. Like, I've got friends that are like, yo, let's all meet up at Old Oakland and we'll have some beers and watch the game. I got a couple friends that are saying, are you crazy? I ain't leaving my house, man. This is the biggest sporting night of the year. Hockey fans love this stuff. Why? Because there's real pride in the game. You saw it booing the national anthem in Canada. Next thing you know, the gloves go. We're throwing hands, and it's glorious. Not only that, the United States won 3-1. Now, there has been a lot of chatter from the United States, myself included, about that 3-1 win. Now you got championship game in Boston. I'll get to that in a minute. But anyway, how do you fix the All-Star Game? You can't unless there's pride involved. You can put all the gimmicks, all the games, all the stuff. They had the same thing with the NHL. They had all the games, all the gimmicks, all the stuff. Didn't work. What worked? Real competition with players taking real pride in it. It's the only thing, and it will not work no matter what you do in the All-Star Game with bullshit. You've got to have real pride by the players, by the coaches, period. Or else no one's paying attention. And no one is paying attention. We can go through the numbers, which we'll do right now. All-Star Game by the millions, 10.5 million in 2000. Then it went to 8.1 in 05. We're only going 5-year increments here, basically. 8.1, it went down dramatically over 5 years, went down more. 5 more years. Then it went up to 7.2 and 7.3. Then it went down, 4.6. Ugh. Then it went down. Stop. Healthcare. I don't need healthcare. Then it went, well, I guess up from 4.6 2 years ago to 4.7 this year. Last year, 5.4 basically. See, you can't continue to do bullshit. The American people do not watch bullshit. We'll watch the UFC because it's fun and they're trying to kill each other. We'll watch the WWE because it's great theater, great show. But a bunch of slapdicks running around about half speed, it don't work. In a sport that we all love, it don't work. Here's Clay, just 4.7 people watched the NBA All-Star Game on Sunday. That's down over 8. Listen to this, 80% from viewership in the past and down 13% over last year. LeBron and Adam Silver have destroyed the NBA's brand. Let me talk about Adam Silver. You cannot and you never can give players all the power. It sounds good, but players will always, particularly young players, see that type of kindness as weakness, and they will take advantage. Wait, what? I'm not being disciplined for stuff. What? I don't have to do what? And then they'll start doing more. I equate it to this. I say it every day. NCAA rule book should have, when there was an NCAA rule book, been this thick if you just went by the rules. But coaches figured out ways to cheat those rules. So the rule book became this thick because one rule equaled, well, 1 or 2 sentences back in the day. Once coaches saw that rule, figured out how to cheat it, that rule became 3 or 4 pages. It's just the way athletes' minds work, coaches' minds work. So Adam Silver gave them all this freedom. Hell, David Stern used to call coaches if they acted up on a sideline. He was the commissioner of the NBA. He would call the player's agent if a player looked like a jackass sitting on the bench. Now, what do you got? You got dudes in sweatpants wearing hats on the bench? No. People are like, shut up. Be a professional. Don't be a farm animal. Don't be a media guy. There is no question that Adam Silver helped destroy. How did LeBron? Because LeBron has been a fraud. And one thing we see through is frauds in this country. What? I'm a well-read guy. I'm on the first page of Malcolm X. At least learn how to fake it and open the book in the middle. He faked a racial thing at his house, John Thompson style. John Thompson, the big John, the old John, was getting ready to get fired in Georgetown. He wrote a racial slur across the court. Georgetown didn't want to fire him. They saved him, and John Thompson became a legend. His son tried to do the same thing, Ronnie Thompson at Ball State. LeBron tried to do the same thing at his palatial estate out in California when he first got there. No, the police and everybody quickly recognized this was a hoax. That's LeBron. LeBron got political. Kamala Harris. How'd that work out? Not great. LeBron put a picture of a cop that saved a woman, doxed him, and said, you're next. LeBron, that's how LeBron, he's unlikable, and he's political. And frankly, I don't give a crap about him, and we must give a crap about him. Because in the NBA, the stars sell. Michael and Magic and Larry and Isaiah and Kobe. Even with the rape trial, even by doing what the woman alleged and paying it off, people still loved Kobe. Even by being the all-time leading scorer in the history of the NBA, nobody likes LeBron, except for the LeBron sycophants. But on a broad scale, LeBron, I'm sure when LeBron goes to dinner, 8 million people crowd around him. That's how hell that happens to me. Well, not 8 million. Maybe 1. My mother. But hey, whatever. You get the point. So you're not wrong, Clay Travis. Crap game now. It's evolved into a glorified three-point contest. Boy, is this true. Terrible overall defense, little paint physicality, and rebounding mechanics. You name it. Add to that jacklegs like LeBron, who are the faces of the league, alienating millions of viewers with their bad attitude and politics. The league deserves what is happening. Man, LeBron should be an iconic, beloved star. And don't give me this black-white stuff. Michael Jordan was a beloved, iconic star. Hell, Kobe Bryant, with the aforementioned rape, was a beloved, iconic star. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was more like LeBron. You just didn't like him, but he was a star, and now he's a little bit patriarchal. No. The NBA is built on stars. Commercials matter in the NBA. The NFL has always been built on teams. Major League Baseball, pretty much built on teams. Remember when Major League Baseball had to beg Mike Trout to go do commercials and that type of thing? They were trying to mold it after David Stern's NBA. This Adam Silver NBA sucks. I'm telling you right now, it sucks. I like going to games, though. I do, at least in Gainbridge Fieldhouse. And by the way, Brooke, call me and let me know. I'll help you. But anyway, I like going to Pacer games. I like going to Pacer games more than I like watching Pacer games. And I like watching Colts games more than I like going to Colts games. It's very weird. The in-game experience, at least here in Indy, is fantastic for the Pacers. It is. The in-game experience for the Colts sucks. But overall, the game of NBA basketball sucks. But I'll be at the playoffs because I like the playoffs. Hey, according to a new ESPN article from the terrible people over at Anscape, the very racist people over at Anscape, a columnist pitched the idea of turning the All-Star game into a celebration of Black history. Yeah, that'll do it. That'll do it. William Rhoden is a very smart man. I've watched William Rhoden on television for a lot of years on the reporters. Feinstein would be on there sometime. I don't know. Name a guy. That old guy, Bill Ryan or Bob Ryan or all these other curmudgeon would be on there. And Bill Rhoden was a smart guy, and I always liked it. And I'm good with this take. I mean, you might as well throw this out there. Hell, everybody's throwing ideas for the All-Star game. Here's Rhoden's. The NBA should celebrate real Black history, not that fake stuff, at next year's All-Star game. The NBA All-Star game is entertainment, let it be. Instead of reaching to restore competitive edge, lean into the powerful history of the game, starting with the Globetrotters and Wrens in 2026. I think that's right. I do. I think that's exactly what they should do. I'm saying that totally tongue-in-cheek. But, hey, Bill Rhoden, you're the man. I mean, you're trying. I know you are. You've always have, and you've always done well. But, yeah, I think that's it. I think lean into Wrens and Globetrotters at the NBA All-Star. That would actually be perfect because the game is a bit of a clown show right now, so you might as well go to the Clown Princes of basketball. Yeah, lean into it. Here's Clay's reaction. The NBA destroyed its brand by listening to woke sports writers online. I've got a better idea. How about they appeal to every single basketball fan in America by putting out, wait for it, a great product and respecting their fans. I go back to this. You can have the Globetrotters. You can have the Globetrotters play an NBA All-Star team in a real game, and the NBA All-Star team will win by 172. But ain't nothing good happening with that All-Star game unless a star emerges. I like this idea. Somebody said Mac McClung should be paid big money to trash talk these NBA All-Stars, to publicly embarrass. Hire a firm, Matt McClung, the white dunker, 3-time All-Star dunk champion. I don't even know if he's played an NBA game. But anyway, I digress. Matt McClung should hire, in conjunction with the NBA, someone to talk some smack to some of these young guys, Anthony Edwards, Ja Morant, and get them to participate. See, that's the thing. You know, guys like Bill Rhoden or whoever can have all of the reasons why the NBA All-Star has not made it. They can all have all of them. They can have all examples of how to do it. But the truth of the matter is the stars don't, as Clay said, respect the fans because they don't participate. The stars don't lift the game up, and why should they? They're paid hundreds of millions of dollars. Some nondescript, although very good NBA champ named Jaylen Brown makes $60 million a year. Think about that. That's $5 million a month. Nobody needs that kind of money. Certainly nobody to put a ball through a hoop, but I get it. It's the entertainment industry. I don't know, man. I get a kick out of all of it. But, yeah, I think that's great. Black History Month, I tell you what, wheel Oscar Robertson out there and have him play one-on-one against, I don't know, Dr. J. They'll celebrate the history. Man, I don't get it. LeBron's guy got involved. LeBron James's guy, Jimmy Spencer, he got involved. What? What are you getting involved with? He said to Clay Travis, you're such a disgrace to the profession and deserve the least respect of any social sports content commentator out there. You divide, you reach, you do anything for engagement. You have an obvious bias approach to everything you do and only stir hate and frustration. Now, I'm going to tell you the truth. You know, I like money. I need money. And I think everybody needs money, but I like being around really good people where I work. And I don't know, Jimmy, I'm a pretty good judge of character. I mean, I left $3.5 million on a 7-year, $500,000 contract over integrity issues at West Virginia. I don't give a damn what people think of me online. That's the real deal. And I don't work for people that stir hate and frustration. I think Clay Travis gives a lot of people facts and says it in a very smart way, and that pisses guys like little Jimmy off. So Jimmy goes at Clay because of his take on the All-Star game. Here's Clay. Hey, Jimmy, do you remember when your boss, King James, who faked a hate crime like Juicy Smollett, also posted this photo of a hero cop who had just saved an innocent woman's life and said, "You're next"? Feels pretty hateful and divisive. Must have missed your comments on this. Well, Jimmy can't comment because Jimmy is, every time I hear Jimmy, I don't know, if you're of a certain age, you think Seinfeld. Jimmy has strength shoes. Jimmy can dunk. Give the ball to Jimmy. Anyway, Jimmy. Jimmy, I have no idea who you are, yet you gaze upon me silently. You gaze upon me silently. Jimmy had said this, "Oh, Clay, I saw you, Radio Row. Your face looked like an ashtray. You've let this corrupt thing, you've let this thing corrupt your last ounce of dignity it obviously is wearing on you." I thought Clay looked very handsome. We went out to dinner twice. I thought Clay looked stunningly good. In fact, I saw a bunch of women kind of peeking around the corner like Damon Bailey at Indiana back in the 90s. There's Clay. All right, maybe not, but I'm lying, but maybe not. I don't know, Jimmy. Jimmy appears to be stalking. Jimmy, I have no idea who you are, yet you gazed upon me silently at the Super Bowl. I'm sorry I'm not as good looking as you would hope, but any comment on LeBron's fake hate crime, bending the knee to China, doxing a police hero, or your company, Spring Hill, losing $100 million. Maybe LeBron's company would actually make money instead of losing $100 million and never making a profit if their VPs weren't walking around Super Bowl row, gazing wistfully, great word, at people working at companies that actually make money. Just a thought. So then Jimmy did what every slapdick does. I get this, swear to God, once a week. I just got one of these. Guy sent me a DM, said, "Well, Dan, we've had some really light disagreements in the past, but can you come on my friend's new podcast?" So I went back and looked at this guy. This guy's been a dick. So I'm like, "No, I'm good, thank you." But anyway, Jimmy then decides he's going to DM Clay. Okay, Jimmy. Hey, Clay, we have to have a real dialogue. We want to have a real dialogue over here or on the phone or in person. I'm up for it. And not even to be hostile, because we do actually have mutual friends, and they say you are doing this for the money because you believe it, or maybe you got lost along the way. Is Jimmy Spencer just a fucking dumbass? Think about that. You're asking a guy to meet, but you are acting so arrogantly as the judge of that man. Think about it just for a quick second. This jackass is asking to meet while acting as the judge of him. They say you're doing this for the money. Oh, God, I want to meet with this guy. Geez, do I want to meet with Jimmy Spencer? God, I can't believe it. Maybe you got lost along the way, because if you're not aligned with LeBron James and Jimmy Spencer, clearly you're lost. It's like people that say, "Well, I like him, he gets it." Well, wait, that means you think about something at such a level that everybody must come up to. What exactly has Clay been lost from, Jimmy Spencer? I don't know. Running a company that's unbiased, running a company that doesn't bend the knee, running a company that calls out bullshit like you and your guy LeBron. I mean, what exactly? It's astounding to me, the arrogance of douchebags like Jimmy Spencer. No, really, it astounds me. Maybe you got lost along the way, because if you follow Jimmy Spencer's way and LeBron's way, oh, you're on the right path. Jesus. We have mutual friends. They say you don't believe it. What? God, hey. Jimmy. You're a true dumbass. Oh, yeah, I don't even know you. And Clay doesn't need me to fight his fights. I just saw this, and I started laughing my ass off. I did. Like, Jimmy, baby, you're running a company. I've always said this, and it's kind of come out to be true as I've owned companies. I've always said the more I learn about people running companies, the less I think of them. Clay's the exception. The more I see a Clay, the more I like and am impressed and think, man, I'm glad I'm with him. But I'm telling you, I've been in so many meetings, whether it is about revitalizing downtown Michigan City or Gary or all these different places. And I got to tell you, when I'm with these people that are supposed heavy hitters, man, they're dumbasses. I don't know if this guy's a heavy hitter, but I know he's a dumbass. All right, the NCAA, their gender eligibility policy has come under scrutiny by women's rights, by activists over the loopholes that some argue would continue to allow biological males to compete in women's sports. And the NCAA responds to the criticism, addressing whether trans athletes can use altered birth certificates in a statement to Fox News Digital. First, let me say, good for you, NCAA. Oh, I know I'm supposed to be like you older white guys that think you're European and you say good on you. Shut up. Good for you, NCAA, for actually responding. OutKick, Fox Digital, always go to the source, in this case the NCAA, to get information and response. Well, you know what? Nobody ever does. These guys did, and I'm down to clown. The most common criticism has been that the policy allegedly allows trans athletes to bypass restrictions by changing the gender on their birth certificate. In the United States, 44 states, think about this, do allow birth certificates to be altered to change a person's birth sex. This is not progression. This is regression. This is just utter stupidity. The NCAA's policy on its website offered no clarity about birth certificate alterations. However, an NCAA spokesperson, we got to say spokesperson, has told Fox News Digital that the governing body will not allow trans athletes to compete in the women's category based on changed birth certificates. Okay. Now, none of us believe that until it's in writing, of course. Policy is clear. There are no waivers available. The athletes assigned male at birth may not compete on a women's team with amended birth certificates or other forms of ID. Male practice players have been a staple in college sports for decades, particularly in women's basketball, and the association will continue to account for that in the policy. That's totally different. They're not competing. They're practicing. It'd be like if I showed up and I was walking through the halls somewhere of a college, and like, hey, Dan, we need an extra one practice against. Yeah, I'm not getting on the court. I'm not going in the locker room at the NCAA swimming championships and wagging my wang around in front of Riley and others. I'm not doing that. I mean, it's totally different, but hey, all right. Here's another one. It says, this is Jennifer Say, who has a great clothing line. She's freaking awesome. She says this, it sets no clear boundary to retain the integrity of women's sports. All that is needed to provide proof of being female is a birth certificate, which can be altered in 44 states. The policy is filled with loopholes, and it is not in compliance with the executive order or what is right and just. NCAA is not protecting female athletes or women's sports. Now, I love Jennifer, but let's see. I love the fact that Jennifer and Riley Gaines are bringing this up, because we all know there's some slippery Mother Hubbards out there. We all know that. And we all know that the NCAA, who loses every court case, they do have lawyers, and they do have good ones. They're just behind the eight ball a lot of times. Well, we're going to see. The proof will be in the pudding. How many women participate against men? Or how many men, I guess you should say, participate against women? However you want to slice it. I don't know the answer to that. You know, there is, and I've said this before, it's not just Leah Thomas. Leah Thomas was famously, if you don't know, the dude who was an awful or mediocre men's swimmer at Penn, changed to being a woman and won NCAA championships and was really good. Okay. Well, there was also a dude that changed to a woman playing softball at Yale. And there's a few others. Look, it's not a big number, but you see what's happening here. You see what people like Riley Gaines, Jennifer Say, myself, Sage Steele, and others. We're trying to make sure that this doesn't become an explosion. We're trying to make sure, as we just saw in Maine, that some dude that looks absolutely like a dude won the track championship in Maine. I mean, I looked at that guy, and I'm like, that dude's a dude. Trying to protect women's sports. It shouldn't be this hard. It really shouldn't. It should not be this hard. It shouldn't. Jimmy Butler saw his trade wish, which is amazing. In what sport can a guy not show up to work, dishevel an entire team, and get exactly what he wants out of that team? Basketball. Adam Silver basketball. I'm going to be a complete jackass to $1 billion industry, legends, real legends. I mean, Pat Riley's a real legend in the NBA. I'm going to be a jackass to everybody, disrupt a team. I want a trade, I get a trade. Doesn't work like that in your workplace. Probably doesn't work like that in my workplace, but who the hell knows? Jimmy Butler saw the wish granted by the Heat. Okay. He went to Golden State. Basketball Hall of Famer and friend of the program, Tim Hardaway Sr., he wasn't having it, man. Tim Hardaway Sr. calls him a crybaby for how it all went down. Listen to Tim Hardaway Sr. when he talks about Jimmy Butler in this interview on Sirius. It's awesome.
Here's the problem I have. Here's the problem I have, and it's with what we're talking about this in particular with LeBron James not wanting to play against rising stars. All these other NBA players have to play against his son because LeBron has kind of put him in that situation. Who's a rising star? So what's the difference now? What he doesn't want to play against. He doesn't want to play against the young guys, but
completely different. Completely different.
How's it different? Because those kids deserve to be there.
Why is it different? Like,
what is he taking away from? What is he taking away from anybody? He's not taking away from anybody.
He took away an all-star. He took away an all-star from like Sabonis that should have been there. He was.
Well, you mentioned Bronny. Bronny's not taking away.
I'm saying about the rising star situation. The rising star situation. He doesn't want to play against.
He wasn't a part of it. Yeah. So you're saying that his son is playing. Go ahead.
Chandler's saying like that the league and players in the league have basically been forced to indulge LeBron's family dream and to have Bronny be there, which is fine. We've accepted it. It is what it is. But he couldn't be bothered to give anybody a heads up.
I've been telling folks this, for the last week, especially here. I didn't agree with what he was doing. You're under contract. You a baby. You're a crybaby because they said no to you. We used to get said no to us all the time, and we used to know how to take it. It is what it is. It's a question. You get a yes or a no. You might not like the question, but you can't deviate and mess up the team. All right. They said no. We want to see you play more games. We don't want to be in the play-in games. If he played more games, they would have never been in the play-in games both years. Even though they went to the championship, they never would have been in the play-in games. That takes a lot out of you. They want to say, look, we want a week off. We want a week to prepare, and we need that week because we play hard each and every game, and we need to rest. All right? So he wasn't willing to do that. He was willing, and I fault them for letting him get away with a bunch of stuff too. You got to nip it in the bud. When he went after Spoelstra, told Spoelstra he'd kick his butt at a timeout, and they had to take another timeout because Udonis Haslem was circling him around. That should have been like, yo, you getting 3 to 5 games. You don't talk to the coach like that. You don't disrespect the coach like that.
Boy, is that true. Now, one of the things you got to understand is now former players were all saints. I actually look back at my career and wish I'd have been more like Jimmy Butler, more of a jackass to assistant coaches, but I wasn't. Anyway, I love what he said there, and he's not wrong, and you could tell that NBA players, like we saw from others, are just tired of the bullshit. They know what we know. They know a once great product, and it was a great product and great league, are headed down because of the petulance and the lack of pride by NBA players. Period. I tell you who does have pride, and I like Mick Cronin. I'm a fan of Mick Cronin. I knew Mick Cronin when he was an assistant coach at Woodward High School, working for a man named Jimmy Leon. I was there to recruit, a really good player named Damon Flynn. Damon went on to Ohio State and Cincinnati, but I got to know Mick. I like Mick. Mick's going to tell you what he thinks, and Mick is going to tell you in no uncertain terms what he thinks. They got beat, Mick did. They were on a pretty good win streak, including just beating Indiana here. They won about 7 of 8 after Mick had ripped his team for being soft. All right. Well, they got beat by Minnesota. Now, Minnesota's an interesting team. Minnesota's won 6 of 9, 4 against quad 1 teams, which is more than my team. Indiana has won all year. So anyway, Mick's team gets beat in Pauley. It ain't a good loss. In fact, it's a bad loss because Minnesota at home, you're supposed to win that game. 64-61. He blamed in part his own team's fans for poor free throw shooting before sarcastically blaming himself for the loss. Hey, all we're worried about is our shooting. Our crowd's mind is in the wrong stuff. They make it worse. The stress in Pauley is crazy. How about help the guy? Cheer for the guy. He's not trying to miss the free throw. Everyone's mind is on the wrong stuff. Well, here's the deal. And this happens everywhere at home. Like when you miss in Pauley or Assembly Hall, you hear, if you're listening to it, then it can affect you. But here's the deal with players. People have asked me at different times, what's it like to play? I go, it's different. When you're playing really well and you're really locked in, you don't hear the crowd both at home or on the road. When you're not, you do. You really do. And the truth of the matter is, it's kind of weird. Like after a game, you're like, man, I don't even remember the crowd. That you played well. You've won. Other games, it's like what Mick's saying. Man, our home crowd's groaning. People are moaning when we miss shots. It's tense in the building. And every gym has this, and every player and every coach goes through this. Very, very odd. It is. I feel like we didn't play well, and if I say anything, then I throw the players under the bus because that's what he did, and everybody bitched, whined, and moaned. He's right about that, and that's not right. These dudes are being paid. Even when they weren't being paid, my coach, hey, look, so-and-so didn't play well. He's got to play better. Sometimes use the media to get to your players. We didn't play well. We're poorly coached. That's why we didn't play well. Sarcasm. So poorly coached, we didn't know Dawson Garcia was going to spin back to his left hand. There is your sarcasm, because the entire world knows Dawson Garcia spins back to his left hand, and I guarantee you his assistant coaches did. We had two guys on him and let him lay it in. I guess we didn't go over that. Sarcasm. I guess we didn't go over. Don't just let him stand there and shoot. That's all on me. Sarcasm. Let the other team's leading scorer get 32. We deserve to lose. Now, he's right about that. One of the cardinal sins in basketball is to let the best player on the other team beat you. Sometimes there's nothing you could do. I watched a kid at Indiana State just lose his mind on threes. He had 36. And I'm sitting there. They guarded him, and they just kept moving back and back and back, and he kept making. But I love what Mick Cronin's doing. I like Mick Cronin. I do. I think Mick Cronin's fun. And he's not wrong. People bitch, whine, and moan. If you call a player out, well, they're the players you brought, you're throwing them under the bus. Bust this. You know what? The most degrading thing, I think, is to have to go explain yourself and your team and your strategy to a bunch of piece-of-stained, fat douchebags that don't care about their own jobs and they dress like slobs. That is the most degrading thing in sports, having to go answer to these idiots after a game. But it's one of the things you got to do unless you're Mike Woodson. All right, this is my boys here. You ready? I'm getting loose. If there was a competition for fuck-ups, this one might take the cake. Now, that's Nick and Nick talking, Mom. Discover how a white woman gave birth to a black baby during an all-time IVU mishap and since lost custody of the baby over lawsuits from the biological parents. She didn't want to return the baby. All right. There are screw-ups like a Taco Bell working forget to throw in 6 chalupas instead of 5. Then there are catastrophic screw-ups like a Georgia fertility clinic implanting the wrong embryo in a 38-year-old woman. In a lawsuit filed Tuesday and obtained by the Today Show, Christina Murray gave birth to a baby boy in 2023, only to find out in the delivery room the boy was black and she had selected a white sperm donor with dirty blonde hair and blue eyes, according to legal filing. In February of 24, Murray's legal team went to the fraternity clinic to alert them that there was a problem. One thing led to another. The fertility clinic contacted the baby's biological parents. Yep. They sued for custody and won. Coastal fertility specialists deeply regret the distress caused by an unprecedented error that resulted in an embryo transfer mix-up. While this ultimately led to a birth of a healthy child, we recognize the profound impact this situation has on the affected families, and we extend our sincerest apologies. That's a statement from the Coastal Fertility Specialists. Hey, On the other side, that Bonnie Blue, that chick that was, stooped by over 1,000 guys, she's knocked up. She's pregnant. Here's a response from Neil. Working out who got Bonnie Blue pregnant will be like trying to guess which baked bean made you fart. That's really good. I'm sorry, but can you imagine? This girl, Bonnie Blue, man, I guess she made a lot of money. I swear to God, if my daughter came to me and said, Dad, I got to make some money, so I'm going to sleep with 1,000 guys, I would clean out my retirement account and say, honey, what do you need? We're not going to do that. Are you crazy? Because Bonnie Blue will always be known as what? The woman that stooped 1,000 guys, and imagine you're the dude that marries her. Kind of gross. Or you're the dude that impregnated her. I mean, I know there's ways of figuring this out. I know 23andMe is out there and everything else and DNA tests, so it's not going to be a big deal. But damn, girl. I always tell my daughter, get an education. Stay off the pole. Yeah. Now stay off the OnlyFans. Although OnlyFans makes a lot of money.